up, homies? Welcome to Doors at 7, Kitchen at 9. This is episode number 1. I'm Chris. This is James. And we're just going to rock it out.
I think I'll do it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, what's up? This is Chris and James, and this is Doors at 7, Kitchen at 9. We're going to sit here and talk about concerts, bands, working in kitchens, crazy shit. I'm sure you got some crazy shit to talk about.
Too much crazy shit.
Yeah?
Yeah. The whole point of this podcast is basically to bring some relevant old school information to what's going on in this COVID era, I feel like. And
yeah, and then plus, like, you know, a lot of people have different conceptions. That's what happens when you smoke.
Yeah.
Perceptions about what being in a band is like, working in a kitchen is like. It just so happens that we both played in bands for a long period of time, working in a lot of kitchens.
Well, it goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, no matter what you're doing in the kitchen industry, if there's a show more important enough than that, you know you're going to get out of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the same with shows. I mean, I've done it to the current band that I replaced you in, One Way Terror, is sort of what sometimes you got to make that sacrifice on the other end, too.
Mm-hmm. And plus, I mean, the kitchen industry, like, if you need to quit your job, if you've only been there for a little while because you got to go play a show, you can go work somewhere else.
That's the brilliance of it. It's the same thing with being in a band, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, if shit don't work out, you just sort of jump ship, and there's always people that you know that you can go to. I mean, there's 5 restaurants. You get out of every one restaurant that's possible.
Except the only problem with that is drummers are hard to find.
Yeah, so, they are.
As long as you got a good drummer that'll work with you, you can go to a new group.
For the longest time, bass players were exactly the same way.
What, there's no bass players?
Yeah, I feel like everyone wanted to play guitar, wanted to sing. I feel like that. Do you feel they were a dime a dozen?
Yeah, kind of, actually, because anybody that's trying to play an instrument but not try to put the effort in becomes a bass player. Like, you can sit there and hit root notes all day long and fucking be on a stage rocking. Like, it doesn't take that much. That's
true to a point. Rock music, sometimes blues music, but when you're playing fast punk stuff like we're normally used to playing, you sort of got to find the right person.
Well, just being able to find punks in general to have a band with that aren't just going to, go off the deep end somewhere and disappear with all the equipment.
Well, now it's a complete different world where doesn't really exist anymore. Like, you either love it because you loved it in the past. I feel like finding punk music now is extremely more difficult than it was for me when I was in high school 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah, because I think punk's almost dead. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of the truth.
Yeah, it is. And even the national level bands, like, I mean, not Green Day, but like, I don't know, who can you think of that used to be huge? Even like Bad Religion, stuff like that were selling out places like the Town Ballroom here in Buffalo, which is, 1,500 cap building. And now they're going down to smaller venues. I feel like it's only the people who love. We're seeing the same thing that we've seen with like the bands that I grew up loving, like Kiss and Alice Cooper and everything 10 years before I was born, that it works out that way.
So anyways, what we're going to talk about today, what brings us here in these comfy little couches, is the top 3 craziest shows you played in as a band. And I played in as a band.
Yeah, alright. Well, let's do it. You want to go first?
Okay, so first one I'm thinking of, I'll save the best one for last. So we'll go with like a One Way Terror one. Now, which with One Way Terror, like a lot of shows we play were pretty crazy just because we're punks. You've been there. A lot of the shows we played in like houses where shit gets wild. People hanging from the rafters. The craziest One Way Terror show, though, I think, is right after Bob had just joined the band. Like, we had he had a problem with the old drummer. He wanted to grow up and get on with life, which I totally respect, because I did the same exact thing. But we wanted to go play down in Pennsylvania, and like our first time going out of town.
In Erie?
All excited, yeah.
Down at the Beer Mug? Yeah.
So Andy's parents wouldn't let him go, and we're like, fuck, what are we gonna do? So we called Bob. Like, Bob, we need you to learn these songs. You want to go down and play in Pennsylvania? He's like, fuck yeah, I do. But right before that, like, Bob had this fucking infection. Like, he had a fake tooth, got infected, like almost fucked him up to the point where like he could have died. Like the shit was about to reach his brain, so he's all fucked up. And like we got 5 days to like learn these songs. And Bob's wearing a helmet. He's like half dead and is in this room with his drums trying to learn these songs, whatever.
I mean, what kind of helmet was it?
It was a hockey helmet.
Short bus helmet.
It was a hockey helmet. But anyways, we go down and play. Like
Either way, it was.
he's almost half dead. Like this infection's about to reach his brain, and we end up going down there and playing anyways. Totally wild show. Really fucking weird. Like all girl mosh pits. The restroom had a bathroom that was probably like 5.5 feet tall up on the wall. Made no sense. People were sneaking in booze and like putting in these little bottles. It's a really good time. But anyways, after that show, Andy kind of like realizes he wants to grow up and stuff and wants to leave, and stuck around for us to record an album we were doing at the time, which that was a funny day. We'll talk about that some other time. But then he wants to leave, so we're like, Bob, I was like, you kind of know the songs. You're kind of sober enough to play.
You're in.
Like, you want to come play, so of course he does. And then we're practicing. So the very first show, besides the Pennsylvania one that we play with Bob, is at Xtreme Wheels.
Oh, okay. What, for a local show, or was it?
No, it was a local show. It was the only time I played at Xtreme Wheels too. It's like the Crack Horse.
Oh, okay. So it was a local punk.
The Crantans.
Yeah, okay.
Some ska band called.
That was the only time you played Xtreme Wheels.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I'm pissed I missed CKY was there, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Because I was seeing CKY shows for years, and I found out from your buddy Mark actually.
Yeah, a lot of the shows that I was playing in that time period, the bigger ones were always at Xtreme
Were they?
Wheels. Yeah.
So we go into this show, and it's Bob's first show, and it's a bunch of local bands. You know, we're friends with all of them except for the ska band, Abdominal Killer Snowmen.
Oh yeah. They
Which
turned
I-
into something else I liked.
Yeah, I like them too, and I like the fact that they stole their name from a Calvin and Hobbes book. But so we're playing the show. Another typical punk thing. Now there was a sound guy there. He was like straight out of the hood or something. So obviously, like that's my guy right there. So we're working, getting all the sound equipment, and the whole time, like Bob and Dave are nowhere to be found.
Typical.
Yeah, very typical. And like I'm to the point where I'm sound checking all our shit. Like we got this hood gangster sound guy, and me and him are vibing. I'm trying to sound check everything. Dave's bass, vocals, Bob's drums, my shit. And I'm like trying to get us up because we're supposed to be going out first. Going outside, and Dave and Bob are like sitting in Dave's car, or Bob, yeah, probably Dave's car, like drinking whiskey. It's a bunch of other shit. There was some kid playing fucking Wonderwall acoustically out in the parking lot. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, not only is that the worst thing to ever, not only is that the worst thing to ever fucking play, but why are you doing it at Xtreme Wheels? Like, I know he was trying to like bring some 15-year-old girl back to his, room at his mom's house or whatever, but. Like Wonderwall at a punk show.
Yeah, that don't work.
So and at some point in this too, like on the side of Xtreme Wheels where the train tracks are, we found a fucking coffin.
Oh yeah, that place. There's always
Like,
something on those tracks.
Yeah, we went back I think to find a place to smoke, and there was a fucking coffin. So we were back there taking band pictures. Like, you ever go back to our old band pictures, you'll see a picture of us holding like a one-way sign with sitting inside a coffin.
Oh, that's outside of Xtreme Wheels.
Yeah,
I
just
didn't know
randomly sitting there.
I thought it was outside over in this area somewhere where we're at.
So then anyways, like, it wasn't like how crazy the show was, because it was actually a really fun show. But just like a lot of weird shit happened, like the coffin, the kid playing Wonderwall, Bob and Dave drinking whiskey. So we go on the play, or we're waiting for Dave and Bob to come, and they're still not coming, because now they're doing what the fuck knows. And they're waiting for us to go on, and there's like little kids in the half pipes like shredding. So, and I had like $3 in my pocket, so I'm like, all right, we're gonna have a skate contest. Like, me and Jake were playing guitar riffs, or actually I was playing Bob's drums because I was still sound checking them, and Jake was playing riffs. So we were playing like this haggard ass like thrash whatever, with my one drum beat that Bob will say that I know, and that's it. And so we're doing this, and like these little kids are like busting out. Like, it was like 5 or 6 little kids on skateboards, all busting out tricks, and like. There was a bunch of kids there that were like judging, so we had like the audience picking it out, and then I gave the little kid his $3, and at some point, like, they finally come on. I'm pretty sure, like, there's this one move that the drummer in this band knows well, is like duck behind my amp and, you know, hit a pipe or something. We've been doing it since our first band. So that was going on inside Xtreme Wheels in between, probably in the middle of songs too. And
which was hard to get away with at that place compared to some of the other places.
Yeah,
where
no,
that
it was
happens. You know what I mean?
with Buzzhound, like that was our, like, we weren't going to a place unless we could do something bad.
Well, you get used to playing in like basements and shit when you're starting, right? So, or even when you're 3 years into it, so it's like smoking down there and shit is what you do.
Like, it was a really good show, and it was like really energetic. And at some point, like, you know, trying to be on the mic saying crazy shit, funny shit, or whatever. So I'm like, just randomly say this, like, this song goes out to the kid missing an eye. And there was legit a kid missing a fucking eyeball in the crowd. A kid with a glass eye, like, comes running up.
And you didn't know.
I had no clue. And he's like, that goes out to me, and then fucking pulls his glass eye out and shows it to me.
There it is.
That is the...
Yeah. I've definitely seen there's...
And our buddy Steve, like...
Yeah.
Metal AF. Yeah, that's our
There's
little coffin
Jake.
right there.
Is that where... Who has that sign? Bob, do you have that sign?
Do we know where it is?
We left it somewhere.
No, someone has it.
Do they? I thought it got left at a
I
show.
thought it was here. I thought it was in your garage, Bob.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so this kid fucking comes running up to the stage and pulls the fucking glass eye out and is showing it to me. He's like, so this song goes out to me, huh? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I said. And another thing, like, our buddy Charlie was going through some problems with his girl at the time, and I think me and Jake are going to get some food. So he's calling us up on our phone, and he's all drunk and talking all this shit, and he's like, this guy put me on notice. No, bitch, you're on notice. And he's clicking his AK-47 in the background, and we're just, like, dying laughing, like, because he's all pissed off and drunk, and he's got an AK.
No fear there at that point?
No. Well, I mean, maybe a little fear that he was going to be too drunk and go do something with his AK, but he's in the back just like, you're on notice, and clicking a AK-47, and we happened to be working on a song, like, right when Bob came in, and we had no title for it yet, so we're like, that's the title of our song, and it turned out to be, like, my favorite one-way terror song.
So that's where the title On Notice came from?
Yeah.
Which we still play from once in a while.
That's awesome.
Today.
Because Charlie was in the background drunk, clicking his AK-47.
I don't do well in those situations. Someone's clicking an AK-47 around me, even back then, there's no way.
But he was on a phone.
Oh, well, that makes it better.
It's not like he was sitting in the back seat with the AK-47. It'll be a little different. All of a sudden, we're in an Ice Cube video.
No, no, let him call for fucking backup. Good.
So it's one of your crazy shows.
One of the most craziest that I've ever played was, and it's sort of a sad note, but there was a memorial for this kid in the scene that was a mutual friend of all of ours, a mutual acquaintance, who ended up dying from heroin. And they did this memorial at this, there's a record shop in Kenmore called Frisbee's. Have you been there?
I've heard of it. I've been by it.
I've been going there since I was a little kid, but they have this place next door to it where, like, Dead Hearts and Sons of Azrael and stuff used to practice all the time, which was really cool because we practiced there at Perfidious Doom out of my brother's band. I don't know if you know anything about it.
Not really.
It was shitty deathcore. But we ended up...
You lost me a shitty deathcore.
Yeah, I dig some of it. But anyways, we ended up playing... where the fuck am I at?
You're at the benefit show?
Yeah, at the benefit show. So we ended up playing next door, which is where they used to have these practice spots. Dave's other bands actually still practice there. And they had a show there, and when you look at the empty room, it looks like it can hold like 20 people. But of course, they shoved like 50 punk kids in this room for a memorial, and people are literally... I don't remember, Bob, did we play first?
I don't think so.
But whatever time we played, it was the best part. It was the best time to play the entire thing. It was the most packed.
You got
sober enough to enjoy it. Yeah, and it was. It was
like,
absolutely...
Let me be the third band, so that's when everybody's going to be there.
Yeah, right. It was absolutely the sweet spot. And as soon as we started playing, people are hanging from the fucking ceiling, kicking. And you know how it is when you're playing in atmospheres like that, like basements, warehouse shows. Anything goes. And when you're
Oh
playing,
yeah,
you don't
people
care.
knocking shit over,
Yeah.
stomping your pedals up, ripping your cords out.
You don't care what, like, if something's going to hit you, like, you don't even prepare for it. You're just still doing what you do. That was nuts. And then after that, you just sort of see people dropping from heroin. Like,
Oh shit!
I
So
know.
you're at the benefit for heroin,
Yeah.
OD, and everyone's on heroin.
Yeah, and it was
Fuck.
the most fucked up thing was seeing everyone happy, like, because we played earlier. I don't, like I said, I don't remember where we played, but I know we played earlier, and then all of a sudden it's complete, just somberness, and all the acoustic guitar players start
I
playing.
know, I'd like
They're
to
all
see the
doped up.
flyer for that and see like what band was playing when everybody decided to go shoot up.
Ugh, dude, it's the weird thing because it was like the
Was it the Magic
somberness,
Tones?
but it was so much violence.
Oh, people
On
were
like on top, like no, like when we were playing, it felt violent. It felt like those old school like
like
where
an old hardcore show.
yeah, well, not, I guess not to that extreme, but the room is so small that it definitely feels that way. You know what I mean? But that was crazy just for the fact it had to be over by 8, so everything is just like going and going and going quickly because it's in such a residential area. But
Yeah, and we know punk shows definitely don't work like that usually.
no, they don't. And I remember this one having that vibe that it did, but it was just so erratic.
Yeah,
But
we
it-
went from like backflips, kids doing backflips, to like kids nodding out, like sliding off of couches, fucking just falling on the ground. It was bad.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
sexy.
wow.
A lot of those people, I could think of 3 off the top of my head, are no longer with us, and we played that show 3 years ago. As soon as he passed away, it was a cycle. You know how those cycles happen.
Yeah, so a bunch of kids from the scene are just no longer showing up anywhere.
Yeah, this is even pre-fentanyl and all that shit. Like, this is pre, like, the actual...
So it was benefit show season, huh?
Yeah, it was sad, but it was crazy because
All the gigs for the next 6 months are benefits for kids that used to come out to shows.
Yeah, ain't that crazy?
That is.
And then you just sort of stop seeing them. But, yeah, that... it's the energy that sort of brings it all in, though, you know what I mean? Where you can still, like, try as hard as you can to, like, enjoy the moment and make something positive out of
Yeah.
it. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, so you were, and then just knowing what you were there for and like what it was representing.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you're at a Velvet Underground show and everybody's knotted out on the floor.
Yeah, it was. You don't really see, like when you watch old school like movies based on like the Germs or these '80s punk bands. Like it's sort of like it has that. It had that vibe, which realistically I shouldn't have, but I enjoyed having that experience
Yeah.
because it felt so old school to me, especially
So-
in the venue it was.
We're playing, this is back in Buzzhound, and like I said, with Buzzhound, like, it has to be, like, whatever's going on, like, we could play the worst fucking show, like some bar in Wheatfield, with nobody there, and we're gonna make it a crazy show somehow or another. So somehow we get invited to this festival they used to have out in the fields in, like, Barker, at this little campground, this Blind Babies holiday. They've been having it for years, everybody go there to, like, get mushrooms and weed and whatever. Somehow we get invited to play this. Of course, we go on like super early before like people are just showing up. But so I think Gorilla Panda Dub Squad was like the big band that was playing there that day.
They were
And
big
they're-
for a while, huh?
Yeah. And they're charging like $30-$40 for people to camp all weekend, and you know, true Buzzhound fashion, like we play our show super early.
We opened the shit.
Yeah.
The very first
And-
band of the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
How many were on the bill?
I mean, it was a weekend, so there's probably at least like a 24. And they got us
yeah.
going on at like 2 in the afternoon when people are still pulling in.
It was 4 p.m.
Was this
it?
a Mark Miller show?
No.
No, this is I think we could say it. Blind Baby's Holiday.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Oh,
Blind
okay.
Baby's Hell. So we play our show, whatever, and right around that time, we had a friend of ours whose father passed away, and he got an inheritance. And he decided he was going to just blow his whole inheritance on drugs and whatever else, hookers.
The good shit.
Except, like, he was real stingy about it. He'd always, like, take off and disappear to another city and call us and be like, oh, I'm at a hotel with, like, 6 chicks and, like, $1,000 worth of drugs. And then, like, we'd be like, well, why the fuck did you call us and tell us this? You didn't invite us. But anyways, like Buzzhound, one of the big things we were all about was fireworks.
All right, just blowing the shit off wherever you were, pretty much. Yeah.
At each other, anywhere. Like every band practice, like that was the thing. Like someone would always be getting snuck up on. Like we'd always gang up on one person and just throw firecrackers at them and just blow them up or shoot bottle rockets. There's a video right here of me getting shot up.
Okay, this I don't think I ever seen.
This is like...
This is your first...
This is just hanging at Bob's house. And they're scheming on me because I'm outside smoking a cig. And they're going to blast me up with some fireworks.
Alright, and it's the house
It's
we're
literally in right now.
And this has to be, what, 10 years?
At least.
12?
I'm about to get...
This is pre one.
Oh, and the thing is, like, one person gets you, and then somebody sneaks up where you're going to escape, and they get you again. So...
Bob,
yeah, so they're scheming, like, up.
Lay it in here. Don't open the fucking thing.
Yeah, they're like, this is all the time. See, now someone's going to shoot me from the back.
Oh.
Like... Yeah, like you couldn't come. You come to band practice, like you bring in like booze if you're Bob or weed if you're me, and if you're any one of us, you gotta have firecrackers because you're gonna get fucking blasted. Yeah, so we used to play this one house like every summer at the end of summer, maybe 2 or 3 times. Full pyrotechnic displays, like mortars, the whole shit. So Buzzhound was big in fireworks. Like we'd be playing shows and launching fireworks at each other on a fucking stage in a club.
See, that I like, because then all the
When we were-
worriness from me runs away.
When we were younger, like me and Bob used to go to Showplace Theater all the time. There was that Burger King right there.
Oh, yeah,
and we
great.
used to roll up and get shit and then fucking light fireworks and throw it in the drive-through and take off.
Wow.
So yeah,
Public service.
Wait, like through the window?
through the window, through the drive-through window.
Oh
You'd
my
get
God.
put in jail for
Yeah, now
10 years now.
I mean, this was like 20 years ago, so you can't do that no more.
No cameras and shit.
Needless
over
to
there.
say, like fireworks and Buzzhound, that was a thing.
That's terrifying, having worked in that industry of fucking takeout.
No, in
That-
retrospect, that's horrible. Back in the like 20 years ago, that was hilarious.
Understatement, dude.
Especially like in the like that Grant Street Burger King's in the hood, so they probably thought it was real gunshots.
Oh, over there, anything goes. Though.
And it's not like we only did it once or twice. It was a couple. Like every time we were there, like that had to happen.
What did you like order a burger and then?
Yeah, as soon as they give you your food and shit, like you can even open the window and throw them in there while they're turning their backs.
That's a terrible.
And,
I'm glad
they-
I was never an asshole like that.
They hit the fucking deck, I'll tell you that. Like, I feel bad now that I'm reminiscent about it.
It would literally be like someone throwing a firework through this window right
Yeah,
now.
like you just fucking don't know what. Like,
I'm not okay with that thought or feeling at all.
So we're playing this festival,
Fuckers.
and like we're trying to get all our friends to come out and hang out and shit. And nobody really wants to pay the $30 or $40. So I figure out a way. Like I'm sneaking people into the bushes all night long. Like all night long, people roll up, park down the street, sneak them under the bushes, sneak them into the show. So we got a whole shitload of people, and like we're sitting there partying. Like I said, we had this friend, Hater Johnson. We'll just go by that, or his God-given name, Naven.
Naven.
Naven. It wasn't his real name, but that's what he was, Naven for sure.
Okay.
So he gets this inheritance and just blows it all on drugs and money. So this is one of the few nights he actually wants to share with the amount of drugs or whatever. I won't get too deep into him, Reed, since you're here. But needless to say, like we're hanging out, having a good time, sneaking people in. And one of the biggest rules at this place is no fireworks. So it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. We're all kind of geeked out, like we've been just going hard. I used to get bottles of Hypnotic and drink. Like I don't drink, but if we're playing a show,
This
like
story is getting weirder and weirder. Hypnotic. All right, go ahead.
like I said, like Buzzhound days, like anything goes.
You say weird, I'm saying that's like Tuesday.
Yeah,
This
that's
fucking guy right here.
That's exactly
Sounds
what it
like
was.
the early 2000s to me.
So yeah, like I don't drink, but like for shows, I get some Hypnotic or whatever. You know, mix that shit with Mountain Dew, get yourself some Incredible Hulks, you're good to go. This is like 4 or 5 in the morning. We got all our tents set up and everything, and since it's Buzzhound, there's fireworks.
And
I
a
think
non-firework venue.
And we not only with fireworks, not our like usual battle fireworks, which were the firecrackers and bottle rockets that we battle each other with.
Yeah, shit you can hold.
It was more of our like pyrotechnic display, which was a bunch of mortars. I think Bob might have had to go down south for work and brought back a whole box of mortars. And we decided, hey, you know, let's light up the skies at this hippie festival. Everybody's on mushrooms and everything else, and started lighting off these mortars and shit. And like the hippies loved it because they were all on mushrooms, and they're like, oh shit, fireworks. Promoters, not so much. And I don't even remember what happened. Like, if they found us, like, I don't know.
No, they didn't find us.
They didn't. I know they were
They didn't
pissed.
find you guys.
I know they were pissed.
Yeah, because we knew it was up. They went to the woods and.
Oh, they had. I do remember. Like, my memory's a little hazy at that time of what actually happened.
What venue was this?
This was in a field,
Oh,
out in the country.
It was like a campground.
Yeah, a
Some
campground.
All right. Well,
So
that's different then. That sort of feels more like you were able to do it, even though they tried to police it.
But I mean, we weren't supposed to do it, and that was all the reason more that we were going to do it.
Yeah, dude, you probably never even heard this story. One Way Terror played at Broadway Joe's with Anvil. Do you know who Anvil is? Like,
Oh yeah, I know who Anvil is.
Bob, put on some Anvil.
I wanted to go to that
I had
show.
to.
Yeah, because they're fucking terrible. Put them on. So
And the funny thing about that is, me and Dave had talked about it a couple years before I even like left the band, when Anvil had that documentary out.
yeah, because they played ballroom and showed the movie.
And we had talked about, oh, maybe we should try to like get on a bill with Anvil. And then it was funny, like after I left, I saw you guys were playing with Anvil. I was like, what the fuck? And I wanted to go to that show. I don't remember what happened. I think I was in college at the time, so it was a school night for me.
Right.
But I did go to the Virus show that you guys played there.
Yeah, I actually
worked
booked
at
that show.
Yeah, I worked the doors for that. Because
Yeah.
that was like the very first day we started the band. Like, that was one of the goals. Like, we want to play with the Virus, and this was before Dave actually worked with the guy from the Virus at the Hard Rock.
Oh yeah, Mike.
Yeah, so as soon as like that Virus show happened, like I was gonna be there no matter what.
We will get him on here eventually because he talks
Yeah.
about. He can talk about. He's a lifelong cook like we are, and he was in at least one of my favorite bands growing up.
Mhm.
Like a game changer. The Virus for me, personally, was a game changer.
What vocalist did you like better?
I like Paul better than Mike.
Was he the first one?
He's the second one.
I
Paul's the one on Nowhere to Hide.
like the first one kind of.
And he's the current one too. I like Mike. Do you like Cheap Sex? The
Yeah,
band?
yeah.
I got that in there though.
Yeah. Why is this a
I'm not
proposition?
propositioning you. No, I'm not. See, I know where you're gonna go with that.
Well, I don't know. You're on like your third glass of whiskey. I don't know what's going on.
Says this guy. No,
I don't swing that way. I got a family at home, man.
I do too,
No.
but I don't give a fuck.
So he
I'm
doesn't
gonna
talk
keep-
about it on camera.
All right, Anvil. So they're nothing, even in their heyday. Nothing. They're opening festivals at the very, very highest of their career, right? Now we found out after seeing them and after I've listened to them a lot that how bad they actually are.
As people or as musicians?
Musicians, but I'll get to the people thing.
Okay.
But absolutely, here was the problem. So the movie comes out. They do this movie. If you guys haven't seen the story of Anvil, watch it because it's crazy. They come from playing this. Have you seen the story of Anvil?
No.
Have you seen it? Something you guys can watch together. So these guys from Canada, they're in a band in the '80s, right? And they're opening for bands like Slayer and Anthrax and even like Whitesnake and whoever else was big in the late '80s.
Even
early 90s.
Whitesnake?
Even Whitesnake. And like hair metal too. Yeah, they sort of fell in that genre, but it's because
They're taking any band or any jab they can get.
oh, dude, anything they can get. And the thing is, they were releasing records. They
They could
on,
open for Buzzhound, probably.
They were on the same label. I think they were on Megaforce, or they were on the same label as Metallica and Ace Frehley, and like they had a bunch of promotion and stuff to be able to do it. They had money behind them. They ended up failing. So, but they still, for some reason,
Didn't the one dude have like bald with long hair?
yeah, the drummer, yeah, Reiner.
Like if I grew my shit out, I could look like him.
Oh, absolutely.
That's Rocky Horror Picture Show. Dude.
That's
Yeah, I guess
that's
they're all
metal- yeah, that's metal as fuck.
referenceable. So their biggest point of their career is after this movie comes out, and the movie is about them staying a band, even though they had now no label, they had their 5 minutes of fame literally 30 years ago, and they somehow, there's one major fan in Canada where they live that's like, I'm gonna film, like, let's do a thing on this. So you guys play in these hole in the wall bars to 200 people, like, or not even to 20 people in these small bars.
200, that's kind of a big
to
number.
do a movie. So they do this movie and they play a tour of 15 shows, and it's pretty big. Like they're playing like ballroom sized venues. So there's like anywhere from 5 to like 1,000 people in this place, and any place that they play that lasts for probably about a year, and then
everybody wants to go buy that ironic Anvil T-shirt to wear to their next show.
Oh yeah, now I'm sure pseudo celebrities are wearing the shit. Like, you know, like the Kim Kardashians and shit of our lifetime, and these people that just wear old school shirts. I'm sure Anvil actually got to that.
Now that we said it, we're gonna see one in the next couple weeks.
Shit, I hope not. But anyway, so they come into town. The promoter asks us to play, and me and Dave are, of course, like, fuck yeah. And not even because we thought the music was like great, but we knew that the music is nothing to write home about. Hence why they were never a fucking big band to begin with.
But it's Anvil, and you want to be there to
it's
open a
Anvil.
show.
They're a name, and they have something to do with the genre that I fucking love. So we get offered to play, and we go to Broadway Joe's, which is now their venues have already shrunk within 6 months of time from having that resurgence. So first of all, when we're there, right? So we're out there and we're smoking. This is before we get our shit set up on stage. We're looking at each other like, how is this gonna work? We can't even walk on this stage with our amps in front of theirs, let alone playing, because Rob Reiner's drum kit was literally like the size.
Oh, I thought you
of
meant
the
Rob
stage.
Reiner, the fucking director.
No, not the director. No, the drummer for Anvil, Rob Reiner. But if I'm wrong on that, don't shoot me. I gave up Anvil after this. What happened to this story? So we end up smoking outside, and me and Dave try talking to both of them because they're both just out there. At this point, there is 8 people in the club. 8. And that's including merch people and shit. It was sad. And we're talking to them and stuff, and we're like, hey, you want to smoke? They're like, right here? We're like, yeah. We know what's going on over here, man. We play
Trust
here.
us.
And like he goes, oh, well, are you, we're like, yeah, we're playing. And he goes to me and Dave, he goes, these shows are smaller than we normally play. And at that point, I was like, okay, fuck it. Now, that has nothing to do with the craziness of this show, but the backline does. So, backline for Reed and anyone who doesn't know is like the gear that's already set up that the other bands are going to put their stuff in front of. So, if there's a famous band playing or a known band, their stuff's going to be set up before the first band even plays. You know
and
what
then
I mean?
Sometimes if a show is like a bunch of bands trying to get in and out, they'll already have a back line where all the speakers are there. You just bring your own
for the shows that have multiple
your own
bands.
snare drum, maybe your own cymbals, and then it's just so you can get a quick changeover.
Yeah, and they refused. I even think we asked. Did we ask them to like remove a couple pieces of the drums just so we had some kind of room?
We said, we'll help you. Like, and we were there at Loaded. It was like 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And everything is already set up.
Yeah, they were
not like they had much to do that day.
Well, we think we know why.
Oh,
do you know why?
Why?
Because he didn't want to see that he had to set up his own shit.
Oh, probably. Well, that's the whole thing. That's the.
It's like, dude, if you're playing at Broadway Joe's, you're not bringing a fucking roadie. Maybe like your cousin that wants to get in underage.
That's a good point though, because between that and the fact that this place is smaller. What, in the last month? Like, what do you mean this place is smaller than you're used to playing? You were playing dive bars 8 months ago. This movie came out, and now you guys have some kind of recognition. So we're like, okay, fuck it. And we play. 2 songs in, I somehow flip backwards into their entire fucking back.
Awesome.
Well, somehow is like 7 Jack and Cokes later.
Then you see me play sober. That's just normal to me. That's normal. But
you hit the whole shit.
I took out the amp. I think it was the bass amp. I hit up against, and the stage is so small. Dude.
I didn't even hear the rest of the
story. These guys, I look back Bob's laughing. Mike Jeffers, Mike, if you're watching this, God bless you. He literally comes up to me and picks me up, laughing. I look behind me, expecting Bob to be there with something, maybe a bull pack. I don't fucking know,
or a
something to
at your
keep
head.
me happy. And I'm literally laying in their back line. The
Wait.
merch people for Anvil is laughing at me.
So Bob's waiting for bull packs. I always get weighted with drumsticks at my
No. Well, who knows what the hell? I just remember looking back at him with a big ass smile on it because we were so pissed.
He was literally sprawled over,
Oh, yeah.
like so. He
The whole
knocked
drum
over,
kit, dude.
So I remember this because he fell into his half stack, which fell
Yes.
into their equipment.
That's right.
And he ends up on top of all of it on his back, sprawled out, just laughing.
And you were just like,
Yeah, and then Mike came and literally picked me off the fucking speakers, off the amps.
Picks up only his amp.
Only mine, dude. I'm telling you, cymbals, toms. I'm telling you, shit came down.
We
Like,
never stopped playing.
And
We kept going.
we always do. We kept
Yeah.
going.
nice.
The only time we couldn't is when Jake was having meltdowns, and we couldn't like.
So what do the Anvil dudes think about this shit? Like,
I don't remember seeing
They weren't watching us.
their
Fuck those
reaction
douchebags.
because I remember
yeah, fuck you, Anvil.
Lips, who's like the face of Anvil,
Yeah, Lips.
right? Like he. And the funny thing is, I just thought of this. I actually
That's why you didn't go anywhere, Anvil, because your fucking lead singer's called Lips.
literally. So we played that show and
Mick
like,
Jagger.
yeah, it's true.
Dude,
This
you're-
whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're not
They don't
Mick
call
Jagger, Lips.
To put some context to the movie opens up with what? The movie opens up. I still don't get it, and I don't know.
I was just
better
telling,
this way.
I was just telling Lips he's not Mick Jagger.
That's it. Well, I don't think Mick Jagger is Mick Jagger. It's like this thing. Lips is the singer of Anvil who we're talking about. Lips also, previous to having his resurgence as the biggest band in the world, somehow was working at like a soup kitchen when they started the documentary
I was thinking
out.
like a Best Buy, but Lips. No, Lips works for a soup kitchen worker.
It was like, yeah, but I don't even know if it was a soup kitchen or like a cafeteria of some sorts.
Yeah, I would probably be good with a cafeteria worker named Lips. Sup, Lips? Give me some more mashed potatoes, Lips.
It's a better name than most of their given names.
My guess is you're good with any dude named Lips.
Walked into that one.
But
So they didn't know what happened to their shit?
no, I don't even know if
Did
there was.
the drummer have to come fix this shit?
You know what's so funny? They definitely had roadies, like he was saying. Like they had people that were setting their shit up, but it could have been the merch people because
that's what they were saying. That shit wasn't true. There was nobody setting their shit up. They had to do all their own shit.
You know, a funny...
Are you sure about
yeah,
that
I
though?
remember watching them fucking fix it.
A funny side story...
I can't believe I took that.
So
out.
a funny side story about bigger bands playing at Broadway Joe's. This has nothing to do with the top three craziest
No,
shows
I
or
got
nothing,
you.
but we were supposed to play with Warbringer.
Oh, that's cool.
And like
yeah.
right at the time, like Warbringer was my favorite like new thrash band that was
Yeah.
coming out, so I was stoked as fuck. We had played with some other, was it DRI? And we got obviously it's DRI, so we sold a bunch of tickets.
Yeah,
And
you
normally,
did play DRI show.
normally we don't do the we're selling tickets for you shit. That's not our job. Like our people will show up if they show up. If
Yeah.
not, whatever. So this Warbringer show was happening. We sold 0 tickets, right? And there was a punk show going on at Logan's house at the Turnaround, which is right around the corner from Broadway Joe's.
Right.
And we kind of wanted to play that show, and we were like, fuck, we're missing this punk show, but it's Warbringer. We get there at our 4 o'clock load-in. We're the only band there besides Warbringer. The other opening bands aren't even there yet. And then they're like, how many tickets did you sell? I'm like, we didn't fucking sell any tickets. And they're like, oh man, like you guys played DRI, you sold a bunch of tickets. Why didn't you sell any tickets? And we're thinking, don't fucking worry about it. Like we don't sell tickets to begin with. We just did for DRI because a lot of people wanted to go.
Right, you're probably getting contacted about it and stuff
Yeah.
too from people anyway.
And they asked us. We didn't ask them. So the road manager comes out of the fucking little van that they're in and is like, we're going to have to kick you off the show because you didn't sell enough tickets. We're like, what?
You
Yeah,
want
fuck
to
it.
correct the story right now?
Yeah,
What's-
It
Bob.
wasn't their tour manager. It was the Sonic Indian promoter, dude.
Oh, it was him.
Sean.
But didn't he say, "Oh, the tour manager doesn't want you guys playing because you didn't sell any tickets or some
Oh,
shit"?
he might have said that. Yeah.
Yeah,
of
it was something. But he was all like upset with us. And
Because we
we're-
set up our shit because we're like, we didn't sell any tickets. We're playing first. Because we didn't sell any tickets, and that's how it worked.
So did you guys end up playing?
No, so they tell us that we can't play. We have our shit already set up. They tell us we can't play. We're like, kind of like, what the fuck?
Didn't tell us that we couldn't play. Maybe I should tell the
No.
story. Fuck.
No, they did. They did tell us we couldn't play.
Wasn't sure if we could play.
Oh, they.
He wasn't sure if we could even play.
Trying to give you a little bit of leeway. Well, I have girlfriends coming. Well, I have these people coming. Like
No, and
tried
everybody
to-
was at the punk show around the corner. Like I thought we weren't allowed to play. They were like, you can't play. So anyways, like we're standing on the sidewalk trying to figure this out, and we're like, fuck this. Dave gets on the phone with Logan. We're like, yo, they're kicking us off the Warbringer show, and he's like, come on over. So we bring our shit because it's only right around the corner, and fucking, you know, there's probably like 80 kids at this fucking party just having this huge crazy basement show, which is way fun. Some like hardcore bands from Long Island that thought they could smoke with us, but found out like every other band has ever done. And both bands that we've been in, that they can't. We never play with
They
Cypress
can
Hill.
smoke with us. They just can't keep up.
Okay, yeah, they can smoke for the first 5 minutes, but anyways, send these Long Island kids on their ways like hella stoned. At some point though, we had to drive by Broadway Joe's to like go to the store, get some drinks or something, and it was crickets. It was like
sure.
there was no, like, you know how they keep the door open, the bouncers stand there.
Yeah.
You see like the lights on.
Seen many shows.
You
like
see
that at
like
Broadway
the
Joe's.
band set up, somebody's playing, nobody in there.
Yeah, you
So,
know
like,
the
we-
bars. You see everybody else, but there's literally no people except the band
Yeah.
playing and
And we're driving by honking horn like, fuck you guys, like we're playing this fucking raging show right around the corner with everybody we know is at, and you know it's way more fun. And yeah, Warbringer would have been cool, but fuck you.
Yeah, at some point, there's you can't always, and actually Bob and Dave and everyone taught me that, like, you can't just jump on something. We should have learned,
Yeah.
and we learned that with Anvil too.
Mhm.
Like, we learned that just because like it's a band that you can relate to in any way, and
Yeah.
again, it's not like it was Wasp or something, like someone that
Oh yeah.
we fucking love. It was fucking Anvil, but it was
Mhm.
still worth.
But still, at the time, like Anvil was making a name, and it'd been at least a fun thing to do on a Wednesday night.
and being considered like a what's the word of the band we are, like a
Like a thrash. Crossover.
well, like a crossover band in general. I always thought it was good. Like like we talked about that band
it's not a
Turnstile.
Corona cough, by the way. That's just from smoking some weed.
Oh, I'm down to smoke soon. What was I saying?
Crossover band.
Speaking of weed, yeah. I always wanted One Way Terror to sort of be able to play no matter what. Like, I felt like that band Turnstile we talked about. They did it right. I remember watching. They play like these small festivals, like Rock on the Range and stuff, and it's worked for them. Where when these small bands get to a bigger crowd,
The first couple of years of One Way Terror was definitely that way. We played with thrash on thrash bills, and then we played punk bills, and like, you know, both bills.
yeah, we still all the way through we've done that.
Whatever happened with did you guys see the Anvil dudes or anything after that?
No,
Or did you
they
say,
didn't say
"Fuck
anything.
'em"?
But the whole show, there was literally, I would say at the most 25 people.
And you know, nothing against Warbringer because I still love them, and they were probably awesome. But it was Sonic Youth, or not Sonic Youth.
Sonic
Oh man, Sonic Indian Production. So yeah, they're the ones that fucked us. But anyways, so my number one out of my top 3 craziest shows, and Reed, you're gonna love this story. You got snacks by?
I got a Coke.
All right,
It's empty.
an empty one. So it was New Year's Eve 2005, affectionately known amongst our circle as Buzzhound Throwdown.
I heard that name before, that's for sure.
So we're playing this little local bar in Newfane, New York, our hometown, Scruples. We were invited on the show by this, and we'll get into a deep dive in this too, with like band drama in a future episode, but friends of ours from high school had a band. We grew up going to all their shows, underage drinking, all kinds of wild, crazy times. So we finally get our own band, and we're like, yeah, let's play shows together. Everyone's in their own different bands. So our friend Andy has a band, Six Pin, and they're playing this New Year's Eve show at this bar, and they want us to play. So we're like, yeah, we'll play. So everything starts out typical fashion, like we're chilling at the bar.
All right, so let me stop. Where's the stage? And you got to paint me a picture.
Okay, so you're in like a bar, and they have a little room off to the side,
Okay.
and that's where the stage is. No stage, it's a floor.
There's not another like room or like a
No.
walkway you walk through. It's just there.
There's actually a Facebook picture if you look at my profile things.
Yeah,
like one of my-
I need this shit of me and James on the TV out of here. That
It's like one of my early profile pictures or something. Like I'm wearing a feather boa. I used to wear feather boas a lot. Still do sometimes. You never know.
I see pictures and shit.
So we're playing no stage, just a little room off to where the main bar is.
Like 14 TVs.
Yeah, TVs everywhere stacked up.
So it's like a sport bar and
no, it
normal,
was just a weird
or
little
it's just
country
a
bar.
hole in the wall country bar.
Yeah, they wanted to be like a wannabe biker bar. But it's New Year's Eve, so it's packed. You know, we got a bunch of people coming out. We're doing our typical pregame routine over at the barn, at the Henderson Barn, which was our headquarters. We get to the show, you know, we're playing the show, whatever. Nothing out of the ordinary. So after the show, get out to go smoke, whatever. Me, Charlie, and Matt go out, and Matt and Charlie's cars are parked right up front. We're standing right on the porch. Now, another thing with Buzzhound is, aside from fireworks and other shenanigans, like anytime there's a sign, like a billboard up by the road with letters on it, we're changing the sign.
Of course, whether it's a church or anything else, right?
If there's letters, if you can get to the letters, they're getting changed. So we go out there at some point, me and Charlie, and we change it to say like penthouse pussy and all kinds of other stuff. There's pictures of that. I'm sure Bob will find them. But we change a sign and it's like penthouse pussy, something else, and something else.
Oh, I found it right here.
Let's see what is it. Oh yeah, New Year, all you
That's it.
penthouse pussy for you, 6-pin and Buzzhound. So
It's funny how like doing stuff like that as a goof doesn't even relate. Like I haven't heard Reed laugh once during this entire thing about changing a fucking billboard. But look at that though; it is funny as fuck.
yeah, so we changed. So we're standing outside, and back in the day, like either Charlie or Matt would have like a random bottle of liquor under their back seat. But sometimes we would just sit and like pull out, like if we're in downtown Toronto, like in a parking lot, let's pull out the 6-month-old bottle of Jägermeister and hit it a couple times. Which, you know, I don't drink, but I'll hit the Jägermeister bottle in downtown Toronto.
Okay.
So-
Only in downtown Toronto.
Or downtown New York, you never know.
I got you,
Wherever. Yep, that's it. It's actually a song where like I play drums on.
Oh, so you weren't lying about those TVs. They're directly behind you on like a shelf unit.
Look how young Bob looks too. Looks like a kid. Looks like Reed.
Wow.
That's funny.
That is hilarious.
So we're standing out. We're right on the patio or the porch, whatever you want to call it. Me and Charlie's cars are parked there. The three of us are standing there. They find this random bottle of alcohol under their thing. They start pounding past it. Meanwhile, some random dude is walking down and like he must be leaving the show. So we just got done playing. Like 6-pin is setting their shit up and they're gonna play. And the guy starts walking on the driveway, walks past the sign, and he's like yelling some shit. And Matt and Charlie start yelling some shit back to him, like something about the sign. And might have been yelling like "penthouse pussy for you" or something, something weird. So the guy turns around and comes walking back towards us, and we're standing in between these two cars. And he's saying something. We're taking hits off this liquor bottle. And as the guy's walking up, he goes and throws a swing at Charlie.
Just ran.
And Charlie had his back turned, but Matt was standing right here and saw it. So he kind of just like matrixed up with his hand, caught the guy's fist, and then just countered him. Just knocked him down in between the two cars. Matt and Charlie kind of put it to him a little bit. The guy's friends come out of the bar, and they're like, "We don't want no trouble, we don't want no trouble." And then they pick him up, and they start walking down the street, and they're taking their friend off, and we're just like...
So how many are there of you at this point?
There's 3 of us.
Okay.
There's 3 of them.
Okay.
The 2 guys, like, pick the guy up off the ground, and they start walking down the street. And we're kind of just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? But meanwhile, this guy starts getting all mouthy and shit, turns around, once he gets to the sign, that he saw must not have liked and wanted to come hit one of us over it, which makes no sense to me, but turns around and comes back
Weird.
and wants to start fighting again. So Matt and Charlie like start fighting on this dude, like beating on this dude, and then his friends like they still didn't want any trouble. And then like I don't know what happened. There was a little bit of fighting going on in the parking lot, but obviously the word got inside. Somebody must have said like I was out getting in a fight or something. So like everybody's running out, and like all of a sudden, and it's a really warm day. It's New Year's Eve, but it's like 55, 60 degrees, and it's like raining like a light mist. So it's really warm. Everybody's running outside. And now everyone's kind of moved from the parking lot over to the yard, and like it was a little chaotic, but at some point like all hell just broke loose, and like
Outside of the
outside,
place,
and, like the two dudes that were with this other guy, like they didn't want any trouble. And at some point, like they either wanted trouble or they found some trouble, because all of a sudden it just turns into this huge fucking brawl, and like our buddy Mookie.
Were you in on this?
Oh,
Bob was in on this.
So our buddy Mookie is like this big, fun-loving hippie guy, lives down in North Carolina, whatever, tie-dyes, like, no sort of drama. Like, he's fighting some dude up by the front of the bar, like, right up on the wall, like, hitting people. At some point, Bob does come down the stairs, because he was still in the bar. And I think the main dude that originally started the shit, like, wanted to fight Bob. So Bob had him down on the ground, and is just, like, elbowing this dude's face, like, nonstop. And he's like, I needed to practice my UFC elbows, and he's just like dropping his elbows on the dude.
Something you would say, motherfucker.
And like, meanwhile, this is going on. Our buddy Mookie, the hippie, is fighting some dude over here. Charlie and Matt are fighting dudes over here. The girls, or the guy that's getting his face demolished, his girlfriend comes out and is trying to choke Bob, like from behind, while Bob's like dropping elbows, like just top mount elbows. The girl comes out and is like choking Bob and screaming like, "That's my boyfriend! That's my boyfriend!" Now, ironically,
You were on an episode of Cops without a video camera.
ironically though, my girlfriend and her mom were there because her brother is the lead singer in my band, and we weren't dating at the time, but she came out and saw that this girl was trying to choke out Bob, so she starts beating this girl up. Meanwhile, her mom is kicking the dude in the head that Bob is elbowing in the head. Complete chaos, and like at this point the whole bar is out there. At some point they fucking locked the doors so we couldn't get back into the bar. Meanwhile, like
You're like, fuck these cage animals.
it was crazy. Like I said, it's like 60 degrees out too on New Year's Eve, so it's like this light mist this whole time this is going on, and there's just little fights everywhere going on. And then at some point, a friend of Bob's from high school, rest in peace, Jay, had showed up at the show, and he was in town. He had lived out in Vegas. He was a bouncer at some strip clubs out there. So he came out and was just like, "What's going on? Do I need..." And he's a big dude. So like, "Do I need to do something?" All of a sudden, like, the cops roll up. He's like, "Let me go talk to him." So there's 3 cop cars pulled up in front of this bar. There's fights breaking out in every spot. Jay goes up and talks to the cops, and then the cops take off. They didn't even, like, try to stop the fight or nothing. Like, shit is literally going down. Like, Charlie got his glasses.
So it's in progress, like it's happening. It's in progress.
Yeah, it's in progress, and he's just like, "I got this, I'll go talk." He must have knew the cops. He, like, went in and just, like, sent them on their way, but there was fighting going on, and they just kept on going.
When the cops came, we all kind of just stopped and were, like, holding each other and looking and waiting.
Yeah, so the shit's going down, and, like, it's all, like I said, my girlfriend's kicking this dude in the head, or beating the girl up, her mom's kicking the girl in the head, like, all this crazy shit's going on. And at some point, like, they lock the doors, and then they're like, I think they even, like, turned the lights off, so, like, they pretended the bar was closed, like, all this band's playing, and they're, like, everybody in there has no idea, like, half the bar's outside, the other half's in there, no idea. So these dudes, like, get all fucking lumped up. And then, come to find out that they were walking down the street after they got destroyed too. Like, probably a good solid hour, 45 minutes of just getting the shit kicked out of them. And a couple other people came out just looking for fights and got swept up.
It wasn't an hour, but the fight literally started in 2005 and ended in 2006.
Because it was on New Year's.
It was New Year's Eve. It was like a 20, 25 minute Like, a guy literally was driving by in a Trans Am, jumped out, fought for a little bit, jumped back in his car and kept going.
Yeah, there was like like I said, like
Backwoods, dude. We're backwoods. I know.
it was like some random shit. Like all of a sudden there was more people, like people that didn't even have like anything to do with our fight were having their own fights. Like it was just
That's what's missing from current popular music culture. Like
this shit got and a crazy side story. So these kids, after they get their ass kicked, they get up and they start walking down the street, but they were so upset that they got beat up that they knocked on some kid's door that they knew, and they were trying to like get this kid to come out and fight. I found out this later on, trying to get this kid to come out and fight, but he was at his uncle's house, so his uncle came out and beat up all three of them dudes that just got done getting beat up, and then called the cops, and then the cops that were there came back around and said, all right, fuck this, like we're gonna take you in now, and arrested these kids. And I actually seen one of the dudes at the gas station like weeks after this, and he was still like recovering with black eyes and shit.
I have never delivered so many 12-6 elbows in succession in my entire life.
Like he this like
Moral of the story, like never fight a junkie because they don't feel shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're that like medicated.
You would have thought Bob was in a Dirty South rap video the way he was throwing most. And so then afterwards, like we collect all our shit. We got our microphone stands and like half our equipment's in there, and they won't let us come in. Like they got the doors locked, they got the lights off. They're pretending they're like closed. It was kind of weird. So we get all our shit. We go back to Charlie's house and sit there and smoke and drink and like, what the fuck was that just happened? Like Charlie had no glasses. I think him and Maureen might have been just started dating. I think so. That might have been like her first Buzzhound show. But yeah, and then like I did get clowned a lot because I didn't fight anybody at the show, so I did not live that down anytime
James,
soon.
you're just standing there watching Bob throw elbows.
I mean, it's kind of
His
like
girlfriend was a huge part of it.
She's probably the one that started the rest of those random fights.
we weren't even dating at the time too. That was funny. Yeah, she definitely kicked more ass than I did at the show.
Yeah, because there was 3 guys and one chunky crackhead, and she grabbed the chunky crackhead.
And just started like unloading. It was crazy.
Crackheads probably feel more pain than heroin addicts. On a fight, like, you would think so, right?
Yeah.
But do they just power through it?
A crackhead?
Yeah, compared to an open
I don't think
addict.
a crackhead really fucking cares. Like they're just gonna go.
Yeah, but there has to be like, there's gonna be a point where the crackhead just gives up. I feel like the heroin addict can still get the shit kicked out of him when he's passed out and just let it keep happening. But I love that. That's
if you
a great story.
If you give a crackhead a rock or something or half a cigarette, they might stop for a minute.
You can't do that because that's just gonna like give them an extra life, like Mario.
Yeah.
Like they just found
in between rounds.
Yeah,
but at least you could reposition yourself. Yeah, so that was a pretty wild Buzzhound Throwdown.
For my number one, am I at number one now already?
You're at number
one. All right, okay. So that story's great. Your story with Bob and the elbows is going to live in my mind for a very long time, and I expect Reed to definitely be able to put in some cool, like, Bob's head on some dude just giving elbows.
It was...
So, this is what you're watching right now.
This is a podcast.
He wants you to edit in a video footage, UFC video footage of Bob.
Just Bob.
And for some reason, like, all these years later, all I remember is Bob saying, like, I needed a reason to give UFC elbows. That was like
Can you show us a UFC elbow now, please, sir?
I don't want to see
I want to see Bob throw some elbows. So for my
Bob. I didn't witness it, but I was there to pick him up. He body slammed some kid through a glass coffee table.
Oh, you have
Another
to
story for another time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm just saying,
Bob,
like
Bob don't want it. We won't forget.
There was a
maybe top 3 Bob fights.
That's on the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I got a couple of good ones, especially when you used to jam with them kids in Lockport.
All right, my number one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was in a band before. My first band was in high school. We were called the Untouchables. It was a Korn cover band.
Awesome.
And we played Nirvana. Can you guess the song? Well, I'm fucking 14 at this point.
Rape Me?
No.
I only said that
the
because you said
biggest
you're 14.
song. The big.
Like
absolutely.
Okay, yeah, you're 14. You're.
But what? Yeah, because at that point, my influences weren't even Korn at all. It was actually Korn was the last thing.
You learned a power chord and you were ready to go.
Fucking, you know what was funny? I didn't play an instrument on that fucking thing. I was the singer of that fucking band.
You were the Jonathan Davis.
But that has nothing to do with my.
Did
number
you have
one.
bagpipes?
No, but I really should have.
Did you do the little chirpy shit that he does in his song? His barking stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I tried it. But I remember sitting in I was a freshman, so I played about 6 shows with that band of various things. Then I started a band with my brother and my buddy Mike.
Wait, did you cry too, like during some of the songs?
I cried before, after, and during that entire session of learning Korn songs.
You guys are pretty good.
No, it's pretty bad.
Did you wear Adidas?
We had a song called Freedom Isn't Free that we wrote. It was our only original. And that goes to show how shitty that we actually were at that point.
Was that a Rage Against the Machine B-side?
No, but I named it that because it's also the name of an unseen song. So
Oh.
you also learn that you probably shouldn't purposely name songs after songs.
Yeah.
But, so...
Did you have dreads?
No. And thank God I didn't think about wearing a wig to provide dreads, because that would be awful.
I would have fucking worn a wig with dreads. I have worn wigs with dreads.
We should
And not
get-
in a Korn cover band.
We should get one of those.
Yeah, just like a Bob Marley cap.
All of a sudden, cut into a scene, you got an Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah, like Korn.
Next segment.
Which, by the way, like, what the fuck just happened here? You had a hoodie and a different hat.
It's
Something weird happened when I wasn't
it's
paying
laundry
attention.
day. I don't know. So,
All right, so you're not in the Korn.
all right. So
Are you still in the Korn cover band?
no. So I stopped that horse shit. And it's funny because you're talking about pay to play earlier, and I did this. We did that with that band, a show.
We should
place.
start a Korn cover band. I should almost get back in style now.
We'll call it Umdaka Nia. So I'm out of that band, and I started a new band called Tainted Army, which I come up with the name in Florida, and I'll never forget when I called
Tainted
Mike.
Army?
I was like, it's going to be called Tainted Army. He's like, why the fuck are you naming your band something with the name Tainted? And I'm like, I don't know,
I'm
man.
14 and I don't know
It's
any
the
better.
right thing. I was probably 17.
It's
at
like,
this
leave me alone. I just came out of a Korn cover band.
Yeah, right. I was 15 or 16. But we ended up playing a bowling alley, Kenmore Bowling Lanes. It's a lock-in overnight. Now, I was like 15,
Was
16.
there pastors there?
No, but I end up I've never been drunk at this point in my entire life. Not even a little bit.
Oh, shit.
Never drunk, never stoned.
You popped
ever.
your cherry?
Okay? Never. I decide to get hammered on Smirnoff Ice.
You were a lot of Zimas?
Dude, I guess so. Zimas. Don't
He's
they
like, I'm
remake
just-
those now?
I'm just drinking what everybody said out on the table.
I remember getting so fucking hit. We were literally sliding down the bowling lanes. And no one was saying anything. And we're in there at like 3 a.m. We're hammered. It's a lock-in. So like you're there. There's 2 bands playing. You're literally there from 9 at night until like 7 in the morning. And hammered. Shit-faced in a bowling alley. I don't know the songs. We're covering Black Sabbath songs that we don't even know. And it's a fucking crazy, like, party-like atmosphere to the point where there's people literally in a bowling alley doing cocaine off of the little bowling tables and shit. I'm like,
Nice.
this is... And I knew nothing about
Yeah,
it.
this is your first...
So I'm already
I love
hammered.
rock and roll.
To me...
Mom, I'm going to be in a band forever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And, of course, my mother picked us up that night. And it was that morning at 7 in the morning. Just completely shit-faced off Smirnoff Ice. You know those fucking...
Oh, yeah.
You don't know the beer shits yet? Or the Smirnoff shits? Lucky kid. The whole next morning, I remember going home and just blowing up the toilet.
Oh, man.
And my mom just like, what? Like, had no idea. My brother was really
I'm a
young.
rock and roller now.
My brother was in the band with me. He was like 14.
Oh, no.
Just completely fucking. But he was always ahead of the curve on that kind of shit before me. But I think that was the first time he was like wasted. But I just remember being so happy with myself. Only
yeah.
at that point. Like that's the most happiest I feel I've ever been in my life.
While you were drunk and
Yes,
sliding
that
down? Or
first
while you were,
feeling of not having worries.
were you playing too?
Yeah. That was the Tainted Army gig. We played at like 12.
You know, I don't even remember the show, but there was this one show, and like I said, I don't really drink, but other than the bottles of Hypnotic that I would break out for the first couple shows, we had played a show, and I thought it was like the fucking best gig I had ever played in my life. Like, I was so happy. It might have been one of our shows at on the Ridge at the house.
Giffords?
Yeah. one of our summer stock shows with the fireworks. I remember like feeling really good. I'm like, this is the fucking best I've ever played. Like, I sound fucking awesome. Like, this is amazing. And then the next day I saw the video.
That's the power of drums.
And I was like literally like a half or almost a full like measure behind everything.
Yeah.
But in my mind it was like the most amazing I've ever sounded before. And then I'm like, yeah, somehow this video is going to have to get deleted and never be seen again.
Bob's right. All guitar players are the same. Like, we definitely are always like, dude, that show fucking ruled. Bob's like, are you out of your mind? Like, that was the worst show we've ever
Are we just
played.
gonna gloss over the fact that you just like did a parody of a Huey Lewis in the News?
Yeah, I did. I like Huey Lewis.
I did, yeah, Huey Lewis was the shit back in 1986.
It's another thing we got to talk about in a future episode is like bands that blew our minds that we did not expect, whether you went with a girlfriend or you've seen an opening band, you know what I mean, that just completely blew your mind. That happened with Huey Lewis for me at Art Park.
Nice.
I went just to cover it, and I had no idea that...
And you fell in love.
Yeah, it's one of those things where every single song, every single one you know. Steve Miller was the same thing.
Always loved Steve Miller.
Yeah, me too.
So, wrap it up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, yeah, that was your wildest. You got all drunk.
That was it, yeah. Yeah, those are my 3 wildest shows I've ever played.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much like my top 3 of craziest shows. I mean, a couple other little things, like, you know, speaking of the shows we were talking about on the Ridge with the fireworks, there was this kid, Smokey, who had lost his mind, and he used to show...
Smokey.
He used to live next door to this house, and we played this party like 3 summers in a row, I think. And he would always, like, just come up, and the one day, like, I think my speaker was fucked up, and he, like, got some imaginary tools and sat there for, like, 2 hours and pretended he fixed it. But there was one thing, like, and Bob has a video of him right here. We'll watch this. I'll set it up for you.
Smokey Butts.
Yes.
Now, we're set up on this back porch, and we're gonna have to get
Hit
into.
play, Bob.
We're gonna have to hold on, not yet. We're gonna have to do a whole other segment maybe next time about just dramas we have with other bands.
Yeah.
Which we didn't really have too many dramas with other bands, but speaking on the people we went to high school with, the lead singer we had a little bit of drama with at this point, and I think our friend Bill's little sister was kind of fucked. We let him play this show, and she came up and started playing the drums really bad because she was all drunk at like 16 or 17, and this individual was getting really pissed off about it, but we didn't give a fuck. So like I think at this point might be playing drums, and Smokey, the crazy next door neighbor who is fixing amps with imaginary tools, gets on the mic and does a freestyle, which we'll watch. Oh, he's on the drum mic.
Oh, yeah. He's just rapping service. This is in the middle of the set.
This is like at the end, like we might have just.
like intermission, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is before the fireworks.
We were backstage.
He looks so happy.
Yeah.
He's gonna slower as he goes too.
He's trying to rap Baby's Got Back.
This is the shittiest intermission I've ever seen.
Yeah, Smokey just passed away too over like the last year or two. So
Oh, did he? How old was he?
Probably about my age.
Oh, really?
Well,
I thought he was.
R.I.P. Another one gone to drugs.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess maybe next time we'll have to talk about like some kitchen stuff. Maybe being so fucked up the next day after partying or a show.
Yeah, we'll talk about the top 3 kitchen hangovers next week.
And we could talk about maybe some band dramas and
Band dramas and
either interpersonal band drama or dramas with other bands.
yeah.
Oh, because you know, now that I think about it, I guess Buzzhound had a couple issues with a couple people over the years. Like One Way Terror is so chill, like you get along with everybody.
You know, Bob's older now.
But I don't know, I think Buzzhound we were just there to party. So yeah, I guess this is good first podcast. It was pretty fun.
Yep, it was.
Finding out some different things.
We appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see you next week on Doors of 7, Kitchen of 9.
Yeah, the kitchen is closed.
Juicy.